The hour of convening having arrived, all members of the House will please report to their seats. All members of the House, please report to your seats. Mr. Clerk, would you ring the bell? We are about to have the afternoon roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Someone vote Representative Bonner. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. Doorkeepers will please close the doors and keep them closed. Well, good afternoon. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Super Sunday yesterday. Once again, without an Atlanta team. So we will begin our day, though, with scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain this morning will be introduced by the gentleman from the 72nd House District, the governor's floor leader, Representative Josh Bonner. Representative Bonner.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, it's my pleasure today to introduce you to my friend, Dr. George Dillard. George has been the senior pastor of Peachtree City Christian Church since 1993. He is a husband, father, and grandfather, and his family roots go back to the 1700s here in Georgia. He is the author of 3 books, has opened the U.S. House of Representatives with prayer on 7 occasions, the U.S. Senate once, and our own Georgia House and Senate on numerous occasions. And in what I can only assume to be an attempt to become even more like Jesus, George is a gifted carpenter and has built dozens of beautiful pieces of furniture for family and friends. He has been wise counsel for me and so many in our community, and it's my pleasure today to welcome the Reverend Dr. George Dillard.
Thank you, Josh. I wish my mom would have been here to hear that introduction, because she would have believed it. I want to share something with you this afternoon. I'm basically a storyteller, but I have good company, because I think that's one of the methods that Jesus used quite a bit. But I grew up in the city of Fairburn, Georgia. It was a lot different back in those days. And my dad owned a hardware store there. That's where I learned my carpentry skills. And he was also the assistant fire chief for 26 years of the volunteer fire department. Because it was a different time and a different day, I started fighting fires and riding fire trucks when I was 14 years old. And as most of you can probably understand, by the time I was 16, I was pretty sure I had that thing licked. And so I got in the habit of riding on the back of the fire truck without holding on, because I was that good. And one night, as we were going to a fire, my dad was riding beside me. I was standing on the back of the fire truck, not holding on. And we were going down Highway 29, and we hit a bump. When we hit a bump, I went up in the air. As I went up in the air, the truck kept going. And I looked. It was almost like slow motion. The truck was pulling away. And my dad was looking at me with that look like, I told you so. And within just a second, it had to be, as the truck was pulling away, as I was contemplating my time in the hospital, my dad reached out and grabbed me by the collar of my turnout gear and pulled me back to the back of the truck and saved my life. I'm convinced. And as I stand before this body today, that event reminds me of something that the Apostle Paul once said. When I was a child, I used to think like a child and act like a child. But when I became mature, I put away childish things. You know, the only difference between the two George Dillards that was riding on the back of that fire truck that night was wisdom, discernment, understanding, and maturity. And I am so thankful that he had it, even though I didn't. We live in a difficult age, and we need men and women who are dedicated to the principle of putting away childish things and leading this state with wisdom, with discernment, with knowledge, and with maturity. And it is my prayer that that is the community of representatives that the great state of Georgia has sent to this room today. Would you join me in a word of prayer? Almighty God, creator of heaven and earth, we praise you because you alone are worthy of our praise. Father, as your word teaches us, every good and perfect gift comes from you, and so we give thanks. And so, Father, I pray today that you would bless the men and women of this house, that you would bless the leadership, that you would give them wisdom beyond this world, discernment beyond this age, knowledge that expands beyond our horizons, and Father, maturity as leaders. Strengthen us, prepare us, and help us always to remember that every one of us is your child, and your love covers us. In Jesus' name, amen. Would you join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Doorkeepers will unlock the doors. The chair recognizes Chairman Hogan, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your Committee on Information and Audits has read the journal of the previous legislative day and found it to be correct. And furthermore, Mr. Speaker, an Irish proverb for the clerk of this House, Bill Riley, who is a devoted Irishman, and this can't help come from the majority whip also. He had a hand in this. But the saying is, do not resent growing old. Many are denied the privilege.
Well, it's good timing, too, to recognize the clerk. I don't know how many of you know, but he turned over the odometer yesterday. I was commemorating your birthday yesterday. Let's give him a hand. Chairman Hogan, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? The chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. The clerk will read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day.
Mr. Burns, Order 59 moves following be established as the order of business during the first part of the period. Unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Reports of standing committees. Third reading and passage of uncontested local bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 10 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Beverly the 143rd, Bernal of the 77th, Schofield the 60th, McLeod of the 105th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Part 5 of Article 6, Chapter 2 of Title 20. The official code of Georgia annotated relating to program weights and funding required under the Quality Basic Education Act.
Education.
House Bill 292 by Representative Williams, the 148th, Meeks the 178th, Hogan the 179th, Burchett of the 176th, and Watson of the 172nd. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 5 of Title 4080, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to ad valorem taxation of property.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 293 by Representative Marin of the 96th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 3, Chapter 2 of Title 40, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to prestige license plates.
Motor Vehicles.
House Bill 294 by Representative Marin of the 96th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 2 of Chapter 7 of Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to imposition rate and computation of income tax.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 295 by Representative Marin of the 96th. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 40 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to motor vehicles and traffic.
Motor Vehicles.
House Bill 296 by Representative Marin of the 96th. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 1611-129 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to weapons carry licenses.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 297 by Representative Marin of the 96th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 4 of Chapter 3 of Title 50 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to the official state language.
Governmental Affairs.
House Bill 298 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Jackson of the 64th, Davis of the 87th, Holcomb of the 81st, and Williams of the 168th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 4 of Title 3080, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to the Department of Veterans Service.
Defense and Veterans Affairs.
House Bill 299 by Representative Scott of the 76th, Jackson of the 64th, Davis of the 87th, Holcomb of the 81st, Williams of the 168th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 4, Title 3080, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to the Department of Veterans Services.
Defense and Veterans Affairs.
House Bill 300 by Representative Kennard of the 102nd, Beverly of the 143rd, McLaurin of the 51st, Kendrick of the 93rd, Bodie of the 62nd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 35, 3, 37 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to review of individual criminal histories.
Judiciary Non-Civil.
House Bill 301 by Representative Park of the 101st, Mitchell of the 88th, Bruce of the 61st, Scott of the 76th, Schofield of the 60th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 3 of Chapter 7, Title 44 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to dispossessory proceedings.
Judiciary.
House Bill 302 by Representative Montahan of the 17th, Blackman of the 146th, Williamson of the 115th, Smith of the 133rd, Wiedauer of the 119th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 13 and Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 303 by Representative Glanton of the 75th. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 33 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to insurance.
Insurance.
House Bill 304 by Representative Lott of the 122nd, Stevens of the 164th, Reeves of the 34th, Bentley of the 139th, Hatchett of the 150th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to revenue and taxation.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 305 by Representative Hawkins of the 27th, Powell of the 32nd, Mathiak of the 73rd, Mitchell of the 88th, and Jackson of the 128th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 24A of Title 43 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to the practice of massage therapy.
Regulated Industries.
House Bill 306 by Representative Gunner of the 8th, Kelly of the 16th, Holcomb of the 81st, Reeves of the 34th, Montahan of the 17th, and others. Bill being titled an act to amend Part 1 of Article 7 of Chapter 2 of Title 14, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to meetings.
Banks and Banking.
House Bill 307 by Representative Cooper of the 43rd, Lott of the 122nd, Gaines of the 117th, Fryer of the 118th, and Hatchett of the 150th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 24 of Title 33, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to insurance generally.
Health and Human Services.
House Bill 308 by Representative Wilson of the 80th, Holcomb of the 81st, Hutchinson of the 107th, Fryer of the 118th, and Mitchell of the 88th. Bill be titled an act to amend Code Section 16, 13, 2, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to conditional discharge for possession of controlled substances.
Judiciary Non-Civil.
House Bill 309 by Representative Wilson of the 80th, Couch of the 50th, Maynard of the 56th, Fryer of the 118th, Hutchinson of the 107th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 4, Chapter 11, Title 16, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to dangerous instrumentalities and practices.
Judiciary Non-Civil.
House Bill 310 by Representative Wilson of the 80th, Holcomb of the 81st, Hutchinson of the 107th, McLaurin of the 51st, Roberts of the 52nd, and others. Bill be titled Act to amend Part 5, Article 4, Chapter 11, Title 16 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to Brady Law regulations.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 311 by Representative Davis of the 87th, Schofield of the 60th, Scott of the 76th, McLeod of the 105th, Bernal of the 77th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 33 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to insurance.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 312 by Representative Davis of the 87th, Schofield of the 60th, Scott of the 76th, McLeod of the 105th, Bernal of the 77th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Title 48 of the official code of Georgia annotated relating to revenue and taxation.
Ways and Means.
House Bill 313 by Representative Parker of the 101st, Bennett of the 94th, McLeod of the 105th, Davis of the 87th, Kennard of the 102nd, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 1 of Title 35, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions relative to law enforcement officers and agencies.
Public Safety and Homeland Security.
House Bill 314 by Representative Smith of the 41st, Wilkerson of the 38th, Ridley of the 6th, Barton of the 5th, and Jackson of the 128th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 2, Chapter 2, Title 40, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to registration and licensing of motor vehicles.
Motor Vehicles.
House Bill 315 by Representative Williams, the 168th, Jackson, the 128th, Hatchett, the 150th, Watson, the 172nd, and Hughley, the 136th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 5C of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to alternative ad valorem taxes.
Ways and Means,
House Bill 316 by Representative Stevens, the 164th. Gaines, the 117th lot of the 122nd, and Corbett of the 174th. Bill be entitled an act to amend Code Section 26-482 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to duties requiring professional judgment.
Health and Human Services,
House Bill 317 by Representative Stevens, the 164th, Fry, the 118th, Smith, the 133rd, Rich, the 97th, and Dollar, the 45th. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 3 of Chapter 13 of Title 48 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to excise taxes.
Ways and Means,
House Bill 318 by Representative Davis, the 87th, Schofield, the 60th, Scott of the 76th, McLeod of the 105th, Bernal of the 77th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 4 of Chapter 12 and Title 15 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to grand juries.
Judiciary,
House Bill 319 by Representative Martin of the 49th, Watson of the 172nd, Jones of the 47th, Smiley 135th, and Douglas the 78th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Part 14 of Article 6 of Chapter 2 and Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to other educational programs.
Education,
House Bill 320 by Representative Neal of the 74th, Kendrick of the 93rd, Wynn of the 89th, Evans of the 83rd. Bill be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 24 of Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding insurance.
Insurance,
House Bill 321 by Representative Neal of the 74th, Kendrick of the 93rd, Wynn of the 89th, and Evans of the 83rd. Bill be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 24, Title 33 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding insurance.
Insurance,
House Bill 322 by Representative Wiedauer of the 119th, Gaines of the 117th, Reeves of the 34th, Oliver of the 82nd, Hutchinson of the 107th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 11 of Title 15, Title 19, and Article 2 of Chapter 5 of Title 49 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding the Juvenile Code.
Juvenile Justice,
House Bill 323 by Representative Wiedauer of the 119th, Gaines of the 117th, Reeves of the 34th, Abstration of the 104th, and Gravely the 67th. Bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 11 of Title 15 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to Juvenile Code.
Juvenile Justice,
House Bill 324 by Representative Wiedauer, 119th, Gaines of the 117th, Reeves of the 34th, Oliver of the 82nd, Hutchinson of the 107th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Part 1 of Article 3 of Chapter 11 of Title 15 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to general provisions regarding dependency proceedings.
Juvenile Justice,
House Resolution 87 by Representative Davis of the 87th, Shannon of the 84th, Carter of the 92nd, Mitchell of the 88th, Kendrick of the 93rd, and others. A resolution urging the Metropolitan Atlantic Rapid Transit Authority to reaffirm its commitment.
Transportation,
House Resolution 96 by Representative Neal of the 74th, Beverly the 143rd, Smiley the 135th, Hughley the 136th, and Mallow of the 163rd. A resolution urging the Georgia Department of Education to create a textbook and curriculum for African American studies.
Education,
House Resolution 97 by Representative Neal of the 74th, Carter of the 92nd, and Kendrick of the 93rd. A resolution urging the Secretary of State to investigate the feasibility of adopting Empowered for use by the state of Georgia.
Special Committee on Election Integrity,
Senate Bill 20 by Senator Payne of the 54th, Mullis of the 53rd, Strickland of the 17th, Parent of the 43rd, 42nd, and Cowser of the 46th, and others. Bill be titled an act to amend Article 11 of Chapter 11 of Title 15 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to the Georgia Child Advocate for the Protection of Children Act.
Juvenile Justice.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions, the clerk will read.
House Bill 266 by Representative Knight of the 130th, Meeks of the 178th, Corbett of the 174th, Rhodes of the 120th, Perkel of the 155th, a bill relating to prestige license plates. House Bill 267 by Representative Thomas of the 21st, Wade of the 9th, Camp of the 131st, Gunter of the 8th, Chokas of the 138th, and others, a bill relating to elections and primaries. House Bill 268 by Representative Werkheiser of the 157th, Lott of the 122nd, Belton of the 112th, Bennett of the 94th, Hawkins of the 27th, and others, a bill relating to occupational therapists. House Bill 269 by Representative Glanton of the 75th, a bill relating to lands acquired, owned, leased, controlled, or occupied by local governments deemed for public purposes and effective ad valorem taxation. House Bill 270 by Representative Fleming of the 121st, Jones of the 47th, Deloach of the 167th, Williams of the 145th, Powell of the 32nd, and others. A bill relating to elections of primaries, House Bill 271 by Representative Reeves of the 34th, Cooper of the 43rd, Newton of the 123rd, Lott of the 122nd, Sharper of the 177th. Bill relating to licenses for emergency medical services, House Bill 272 by Representative Ballinger of the 23rd, Hogan of the 179th, Gaines of the 117th, Rich of the 97th, Burchett of the 176th, and others. Bill relating to the Juvenile Code. House Bill 273 by Representative Ballinger of the 23rd, Carpenter of the 4th, Collins of the 68th, and Dollar of the 45th. A bill relating to local authorization and regulations for manufacture, distribution, and package sales of distilled spirits. House Bill 274 by Representative Ballinger of the 23rd, Fleming of the 121st, Rich of the 97th, Burchett of the 176th, Abstration of the 104th. A bill relating to juvenile court administration. House Bill 275 by Representative McDonald of the 26th, Hatchett of the 150th, Powell of the 32nd, Collins of the 68th, Spire of the 135th, and others. A bill relating to general provisions relative to firefighter standards and training and to emergency medical services personnel. House Bill 276 by Representative Singleton of the 71st, Cantrell of the 22nd, Lott of the 122nd, Jones of the 25th, Carpenter of the 4th, and others. Bill relating to education. House Bill 277 by Mitchell of the 88th. The bill relating to Stone Mountain Memorial Association. House Bill 278 by Representative Clark of the 147th, Werkheiser of the 157th, Carpenter of the 4th, Martin of the 49th, Tarvin of the 2nd, and others. A bill relating to alcoholic beverages. House Bill 279 by Representative Lewis Ward of the 109th, Allen of the 40th, Clark of the 108th, Wilkerson of the 38th, and Evans of the 83rd. A bill relating to environmental policy. House Bill 280 by Representative Bodie of the 62nd, Beverly of the 143rd, Wilkerson of the 38th, Hughley of the 136th, Clark of the 108th, and others. A bill relating to primaries and elections. House Bill 281 by Representative Burchett of the 176th, Corbett of the 174th, Petrie of the 166th, LaHood of the 175th, Ridley of the 6th, and others. A bill relating to carrying and possession of firearms. House Bill 282 by Representative Meeks of the 178th, England of the 116th, Hatchett of the 150th, Watson of the 172nd, Dickey of the 140th. A bill relating to ad valorem taxation of qualified timberland property. House Bill 283 by Representative Wilkerson of the 38th, Couch of the 50th, Sharper of the 177th, Clark of the 108th, Park of the 101st, and others. A bill relating to definitions regarding Hope scholarships and grants. House Bill 284 by Representative Cantrell of the 22nd, Evans of the 57th, Wilson of the 80th, Park of the 101st, Clark of the 147th, and others. A bill relating to elections of primaries. House Bill 285 by Representative Cantrell of the 22nd, Barr of the 103rd, Clark of the 147th, and Werkheiser of the 157th. A bill relating to elections of primaries. House Bill 286 by Representative Gaines of the 117th, Kelly of the 16th, Dempsey of the 13th, Woodhour of the 119th, Collins of the 68th, and others. A bill relating to county police. House Bill 287 by Representative Rich of the 97th, Jaspers of the 11th, Newton of the 123rd, Belton of the 112th, Camp of the 131st, and others. A bill relating to competencies and core curriculum. House Bill 288 by Representative Belton of the 112th, Abstration of the 104th, Ballinger of the 23rd, Rich of the 97th, Momtahan of the 17th. A bill relating to grants of pardons, paroles, and other relief. House Bill 289 by Representative Belton of the 112th, Corbett of the 174th, Powell of the 32nd, Hitchens of the 161st, Barton of the 5th, and others. A bill relating to issuance, expiration, and renewal of driver's licenses. House Bill 290 by Representative Setzler of the 35th, Newton of the 123rd, Hatchett of the 150th, Rich of the 97th, Jackson of the 128th, and others. A bill relating to regulation of hospitals and related institutions. House Bill 291 by Representative Dempsey of the 13th, Martin of the 49th, Spire of the 135th, Earhart of the 36th, Parrish of the 158th. Bill relating to definitions regarding tuition equalization grants at private colleges and universities. House Resolution 79 by Representative Dreyer of the 59th and Schofield of the 60th. Resolution urging the Georgia Department of Transportation to erect sound barriers around the city of Hapeville. House Resolution 80 by Representative Mitchell of the 88th, Thomas of the 39th, Bennett of the 94th, and Hughley of the 136th. A resolution to ratify a proposed amendment to the United States Constitution through second readers.
Reports of standing committees, the clerk will read.
Representative Jan Tankersley, the 160th District Chairman on Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Local, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Locals had under consideration the following bills of the House and instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Bill 162 do pass by substitute. House Bill 211 do pass. House Bill 225 do pass. House Bill 242 do pass. House Bill 251 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Tankersley, 160th District Chairman. Representative Ballinger, the 23rd District Chairman on Committee on Juvenile Justice, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Juvenile Justice has had under consideration the following bill of the House and instructed me to report the same back to the House. The following recommendations. House Bill 154 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Ballinger, the 23rd District Chairman. Representative Mathiak, the 73rd District Chairman on Committee on State Planning and Community Affairs, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on State Planning and Community Affairs has had under consideration the following bill of the House and instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendation. House Bill 208 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Mathiak, the 73rd District Chairman. Representative Fleming of the 121st District Chairman on the Committee on Special Committee on Election Integrity submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Special Committee on Election Integrity has under consideration the following bill of the House. Instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendation. House Bill 270 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Barry Fleming of the 121st District Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
What purpose does Chairman Fleming rise?
To make a motion, Mr. Speaker.
State your motion.
Mr. Speaker, after negotiations with the Minority Whip Wilkinson, I would ask that House Bill 270 be recommitted to the Special Committee on Election Integrity so we can amend the bill and gain his support.
Chairman Fleming has moved that House Bill 270 be recommitted to the Special Committee on Election Integrity. Is there objection? Is there objection? The chair hears none, and it is so ordered. Third reading and passage of uncontested local bills. Let me, before we have the clerk go through this process, if you listen up, I understand that the wrong local calendar was inadvertently given to some members, and they have not had an opportunity yet to review the correct local calendar. So unless there is objection, we're going to postpone the entire local calendar until tomorrow, next legislative day. Hear no objection. Okay, we're going on now to morning orders. Morning orders. We have several that have signed up. Chair is going to ask that members limit their comments to 1 minute each. Chair recognizes Chairman Penny Houston for a morning order. This house will be in order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is with a heavy heart that we come before you today to recognize the life of a friend and a former member of the Georgia General Assembly, Peg Bletch. Peg died last week, and she served in the Georgia House of Representatives, the Georgia Senate. She served as probate judge of Clinch County, and after she retired from the Georgia Senate, she was elected mayor of Homerville. This is a lady who has dedicated her life to public service, and we're so thankful that Peg came to South Georgia, and we praise God for sending Peg to us. And if we could have a minute of silence to honor her life. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you all.
Senator Peg Blitch was a great lady and a great Georgian. Chair recognizes Chairman Randy Nix for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, please give me your attention. I have something that some of you are going to need to pay attention to. Donald Cronin, who is the Human Resources Director for the Georgia General Assembly, asked me to make this announcement. Several weeks ago, you should have received an email that said you are now enrolled in the Sexual Harassment Awareness in the Workplace online training course. And then it goes on to state that this training is mandatory, and it said that you have 21 days to complete the course. Now, my notice came on January the 26th. I would assume most of them went out at that time. If you have not completed the Sexual Harassment Awareness in the Workplace online training course, please do so as soon as you can. If you have any questions about this, you can get in touch with me, or you can call Donald Cronin, who is our Human Resources Director, and he will help you. But please be aware of that and get it done. It is mandatory. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Rhonda Taylor for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good afternoon. I rise today to present our Black History Moment, which features William Bill Powell, the first African American to design, construct, and own a professional golf course in the United States. He was a black man in the mid-1960s who was not allowed to join or play at the local country clubs. So he built his own course and taught the neighborhood kids golf for free. Powell grew up in Ohio and worked as a caddy as a youth, and he played golf for the Wilberforce University team prior to serving in World War II with the U.S. Army Air Forces. When he returned home, he encountered the discrimination and vowed to one day own his own playing field. He, along with his wife, carved 9 holes out of farmland while working nights at the security guard. This is the only course built, owned, and operated by an African American. Clearview is now a National Historic Site. And thank you. Thank you again, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Chair recognizes Representative McLeod for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and big up to my colleagues. Saying Black Lives Matter doesn't mean blue lives doesn't matter, or anyone else's life doesn't matter. It simply means Black lives matter too. During the summer months of 2020, Black people and others who joined them to protest the brutality captured on camera for the world to see, they did so to demand that our humanity must not and cannot be set aside. Not one Black Lives Matter protester stormed the state capitol or the U.S. Capitol. They certainly did not commit insurrection. Never in our country's history has the Confederate flag entered the U.S. Capitol until Tuesday, January 6, 2021. The treatment of Black Lives Matter protesters can be measured in numbers. From May 30th to June 2nd, 2020, there was 427 protesters basically put in jail, and only 52 protesters were put in jail for the storming of our Capitol. Unity does not mean dismissal of accountability. It means that we acknowledge the truth and equity to achieve oneness. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Chair recognizes Representative Hobson for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On this 8th day of Black History Month, I rise today to honor someone I've admired for decades, and that would be Dr. Sharon Nyota Tucker. Dr. Tucker is the first African-American woman to graduate from the University of Georgia, Georgia School of Law. A native of Dublin, Georgia, Dr. Tucker, during her junior year of high school, joined 6 of her fellow classmates from Oconee High School in the integration of a previously all-white Dublin high school. Nyota went on to earn a Bachelor's of Arts degree in political science from Howard University before becoming the first African-American woman to receive a Juris Doctorate degree from the University of Georgia in 1974. I won't go through all of her wonderful accolades, but in addition to the wonderful things that she's been able to accomplish, she was also my professor at my alma mater, Albany State University, and she served there for 34 years before her retirement. Dr. Tucker was recognized on April 13th, 2019 at the University of Georgia School of Law, honoring her legacy by unveiling a beautiful portrait of her, which now stands in on permanent display in the UGA School of Law. Mr. Speaker, today, I ask my colleagues to join me in recognizing and commending the beautiful Dr. Sharon Nyota Tucker for her commitment and contributions to our community and to the state of Georgia. Mr. Speaker, I yield the well. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative McLean for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My colleagues, I come for 2 reasons. One is to give an update on my wife, Linda. She is doing well, and she's recovering. And the second thing, I want to say thank you all for all your prayers. Your prayers have been very uplifting to me and my family. And please keep them coming, because there's one thing I can say: I've enjoyed the texts, I've enjoyed the phone calls, I've enjoyed the food, but I realize that I need to be with family, and this COVID is real. COVID is real because I don't get that opportunity to visit her or see her, but I do get a chance to Zoom call her. So please, if you get an opportunity to take the vaccination, please do that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes Representative Maynor for a morning order.
Thank you, Speaker Ralston, for the opportunity to congratulate several Georgia Tech students. Georgia Tech is a Georgia asset that is located within my district of 56. This past semester, the following students, undergraduate students, actually made a 4.0 grade point average: Amia Vintenkar, Shashank Singh Naya, and Kanji Gorg. The following students made a 3.0 grade point average at Georgia Tech: Zessen Chien, Renee Van Horkel, Sweden Rokinton, Kevin Matthew, and Yasmin Yoku. Thank you so much.
Chair recognizes Representative Hutchinson for a morning order.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Today I'd like to introduce you to future comedian, 13-year-old Shardavia. Shardavia says that her favorite part of the day is spending time to think about all the good things in life. Shardavia's favorite comedian is Tiffany Haddish. She enjoys swimming, spending time with her friends, watching TV, and drawing. Shardavia is just one of many, many beautiful children available for adoption in Georgia today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
That completes morning orders. Clerk will read the caption to a group of privileged resolutions.
Recognizing and commending Dr. Thomas J. Hines upon the occasion of his retirement from Clayton State University. Recognizing February 1 through 7, 2021 as National Gun Violence Survivors Week in Georgia. Recognizing and commending the Gwinnett Ballet Theater. Recognizing Family and Consumer Sciences. Recognizing the Georgia Recyclers Association. Recognizing and commending the Jane Nelson Institute for Women's Leadership at Texas Women's University. Recognizing the rise of cardiovascular disease is the world's leading cause of preventable death. Recognizing, congratulating Marty Lewis Ellen upon the grand occasion of his retirement, honoring the life and memory of Eleanor Sandy Torrey West. Recognizing, commending Mary Ann Adelheff. Recognizing, commending Shannon Mantaro. Recognizing and commending Dr. Frank Dooley. Recognizing February 23, 2021 as Dyslexia Day at the State Capitol. Commending Mr. Joseph Gavalis as the Distinguished Older Georgian for 2021. Recognizing and commending Representative Michelle Henson. Recognizing and commending Senator Steve Henson, honoring the life and public service of Malcolm Honeycutt. Recognizing February 18, 2021 is National Coalition of 100 Black Women Day at the State Capitol, and for other purposes, that completes the reading of the privileged resolution.
Is there any objection to adopting the privileged resolutions? The chair hears none, and the resolutions are adopted.
Thank you. We're moving on to announcements. The chair recognizes Chairman Smith for an announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Rules will meet tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. For those of you in room 341, that room will stay locked until 8:45. At that point, we will unlock it, and only members of the Rules Committee will be allowed in until Rules adjourns. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Representative Saines for an announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The General Government Subcommittee of Government Affairs will be meeting at 2 o'clock in Club 406 or immediately upon adjournment.
Chair recognizes Representative Reeves for an announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Reeves Subcommittee of Judiciary Non-Civil will meet in room 132 at 3:30 today. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Lumsden for an announcement.
Representative Tarvin's Subcommittee for Insurance will be meeting in the morning at 8 o'clock, CLOB 406. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Chairman Collins for an announcement.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee will meet at 2:30 in 606 CLOB.
Chair recognizes the Majority Leader for a motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that this House stand adjourned until 10 a.m. Tuesday, February the 9th, 2021.
On the motion of the Majority Leader that the House stands adjourned until 10 a.m. on Tuesday, February 9th, all those in favor say aye. All those opposed will say no. The ayes clearly have it, and the House is adjourned.